Hello, I'm Doc Sholo, and today I'm going to talk about poultry health and management. Okay, to effectively talk about poultry health and management, we should understand disease transmission. Okay, so how is disease transmitted? There is an infectious way of transmitting disease, and there's also an indirect or non-infectious way. Okay, so for infectious, this would include pathogenic viruses, bacteria, parasites, fungi, and protozoa. Okay, indirect or non-infectious, these are caused by nutritional imbalance, injury, toxins, and excessive stress. Okay. Also, for understanding diseases, we should know what are the routes of infection in poultry. Okay. Poultry, they may get sick via their digestive system, okay, via their respiratory system, and through cuts and wounds. Okay. Okay. Here are the signs to observe in poultry. Okay, to determine if they are sick. Okay. Noticeable would be lethargy. Okay. If you see that there is less activity in the bird and they don't move around, they're not active like how they are the previous day, then this is an abnormal sign. Okay. Dull appearance. Okay. If you see that their feathers are not normal looking, they look more dry than usual, as well as their eyes. Okay. Then this is again another abnormal sign. Okay. If you see also that a bird is isolated from the rest of the flock, okay, it means that it cannot keep up with the activity, okay, and it tries to remove itself, okay, from all of that, then that is also an abnormal sign. Okay. Checking the records, you would be observing reduced egg production. Okay, reduction in egg production, and then also the next one, which is a decrease in weight gain, both of which are measurable on a regular basis, then it means that there is something wrong, okay, in your bird. Okay, not only a decrease in weight gain, okay, but also weight loss. If, for example, you're going on a steady incline and then you observe that suddenly there is weight loss, then there is something wrong with your birds. Okay. Of course, with weight loss, what follows is a decreased feed and water intake, which is the next abnormal sign. Okay, if birds have a decreased consumption of both feed and water, then they would exhibit weight loss. Okay, also you'll find this term sick bird syndrome, okay, as a sign. So I know you're curious what sick bird syndrome is. Okay? And here are the things to look out for in a sick bird syndrome. Okay, you would be observing huddling or birds that are close to each other. Okay, this could be due to faulty temperature regulation. They need to be together to feel the warmth. Okay, sitting low on the perch. Okay, for example, you put perches in your hen houses. Okay, if birds are sitting low on the perch or it does not look normal, then this is part of a sick bird syndrome. And then, for example, also you have a perch, but instead of utilizing the perch, the birds sit on the bottom of the cage. Okay, then it could be an indication of a disease process. Okay, now the next one, this is not really observable in chicken. Okay, but for most birds, hanging onto the side of the cage using the beak instead of sitting on a perch. Okay, so this could be an indication of a disease process. Okay, next is head tucked under the wing and standing on 2 feet. Okay? You can observe the bird is standing. However, the head is tucked between the wing. Okay, the reason behind it again could be that the bird is experiencing a problem in regulating its temperature, and that is the reason why it keeps its head under its wing. Okay, this is observable in times of cold temperature. Okay, also ruffled feathers, but it has to be consistently ruffled. Because sometimes when they get wet, birds they do a shaking motion which ruffles their feathers. Okay, and then this would return to normal. But if they're consistently ruffled, then there is something wrong with the bird. Okay, weakness, you'd observe that if you're always checking your birds daily. Okay, if there is less activity from them during feeding time, they're not that responsive or excited, then that is a sign of a sick bird. Okay. Loss of balance. Okay, there is a problem with the bird. If they're having a problem while walking, there's a loss of balance. They fall down. Okay. Lumps on any part of the body. Any lumps that are unnatural or should not be there. Okay, these are an indication of disease. Okay. Feather picking. Okay, if you see that your bird is losing its feathers, okay, then this is an indication of disease. It may also be that some other bird, which is a nutrient deficiency, is picking on the feathers of its pen mates. That is why you would observe loss of feathers in a particular pen. Okay, tremors in the bird are not natural, and these are also indications of a sick bird. Not preening or not grooming. Okay, when the bird is not grooming, then it could indicate that it is sick and is not in the mood to dress up or look better. Okay, harassed by other birds. Okay, if a bird is sick, then it is not really that active, and oftentimes its pen mates or flock mates would harass it. Okay. Okay. Dull, sunken eyes. Okay. So the eyes are the windows of the soul. Okay. I think this could be said true of chickens and birds, because when you look at them and the eyes are not alert and bright, then it must mean that there is a disease process that's going on. And then circling around, your bird is or your chicken is just walking around in circles, then there is a disease, okay, bothering your bird. Okay, so if you observe your birds daily, okay, the next one, abnormal droppings, this would be pretty obvious. Okay, the smell and appearance are the things to look out for. The smell, it would be leaning more on the acidic side. Okay, if you smell that the feces has a an acidic smell, then the bird is sick. Okay, and then also the appearance. Okay, if they're more wet than usual. Okay, if they are green. Okay, if there is blood. If it's colored brown. Okay, then these are normal droppings. Okay, and then drooped or elevated wings. Okay, normally birds have it tucked on their side, carrying it on an upright stance. But sick birds, okay, they have less energy. Therefore, the wings just naturally droop because of weakness. Okay. All right. Now we move on to more specific signs or signs to be seen when your bird is experiencing digestive tract diseases. Okay. So what are these? These are weight loss. Okay. If you've noticed that your bird has been consistently losing weight, okay, of course you measure weekly, okay, then this is a sign of an ongoing digestive tract disease. Okay. So what can be causing this weight loss? That would be the next one, which is diarrhea. Okay. If the bird has consistently been experiencing diarrhea, then its intestinal lining as well as its body water is being lost. Therefore, okay, weight is lost. Okay. And then next is decreased production. Okay. If you're consistently weighing their weights weekly and you're monitoring their egg production, okay, any sign that there is a decrease in production, okay, it could be a sign of an ongoing digestive tract disease. And then, of course, as mentioned, consistently ruffled feathers. Okay, if you see that the bird's feathers are ruffled or they are not their normal appearance, okay, this is another sign. Okay, a pasty vent. Okay, so vents, they should be clean and dry. Okay, if you see whitish material that's stuck to the vent, then it must mean that there is a diarrhea going on. Okay, and droopiness or general weakness, okay, that's another sign of digestive tract diseases. Next, we move on to respiratory diseases. Okay, so these are the signs to look out for when you believe that your birds have a respiratory disease. Okay, sneezing. Okay, if you see your bird sneezing, okay, then this is a sign of respiratory disease. Okay, and then of course normally when you observe your bird, they have a dry nose as well as normal looking eyes. Okay, if you see discharges from the eyes and nose, then these are signs of respiratory disease. And then, of course, you'd be observing swollen eyes, sinuses, comb, and wattles. Okay, during an episode of respiratory diseases, okay, sometimes the discharges could not come out from the eye. Therefore, you have swollen eyes, okay, as well as swollen sinuses. Okay, and then also if you observe your birds looking up as if losing air, gasping for air, okay, and then they're having difficulty breathing, then that is a sign of respiratory disease. Okay, also when you see your birds having dirty shoulders, so wait, dirty shoulders. Okay, why are dirty shoulders a sign of respiratory disease? Because birds, they have a tendency, for example, if they have a discharge from their nose or their eyes, their tendency is to wipe it on their shoulders. That is why when you see birds that have dirty shoulders, okay, these are sick birds. Okay. Rales as well as noisy breathing are another sign of respiratory diseases. Then, of course, when you check your records, you would also see a drop in egg production. Okay. And then, of course, the signs that were mentioned in a sick bird syndrome. These are indicative of respiratory diseases. Okay, so what are the causes of disease? Okay, this would include viruses, bacteria, mycoplasma, fungus, parasites, poor nutrition, management problems. Okay, so let's talk about viruses. They're an infectious agent which requires living cells to replicate, and they have a protein coat or covering for protection. Bacteria, they're cells that are found in the soil, air, water, on the plants and animals, and they have a cell wall. Okay, next we have mycoplasma. They don't have a cell wall but a membrane which surrounds them. They are also found in the environment. They are said to be smaller than bacteria but are larger than a virus. And then we have fungus, which is from the environment. And then another cause of disease are parasites. Okay? They hamper the absorption of nutrients from the digestive tract. These would include worms, and then also protozoa like coccidia. And then parasites would also include external parasites. Okay. Next, we have poor nutrition as a cause of disease. Okay. These are due to nutrient deficiencies, like in white muscle disease. These would be due to deficiency in vitamin E as well as selenium. Okay, next, management problems. Okay, there is a lack of biosecurity and cleanliness. Okay, if you are not regularly cleaning your hen house, then it would invite disease vectors. What are these disease vectors? For example, this would include birds, okay, birds that are not part of the production, and also rodents, and these may carry diseases to your flock. Okay. Okay, so how do we control diseases? Okay, what we can do to control diseases are, of course, monitoring. When we monitor our production, like egg production, as well as weight gain, and then, as mentioned, we've observed a drop, a decrease, or a loss, then it is a sign of disease and is a cause for further investigation. Then, of course, isolation of sick birds. When we go through our growing pens, we should check for sick birds or birds that are isolating themselves, and we should bring them forward to an isolation pen that's placed, okay, just near the entrance, okay, of the house. And then next, purchase stocks from disease-free sources. Okay? Okay, if we are ensured that the birds that we have are not coming from a source that has been known to be sick, then we are doing ourselves a favor. Okay? And then vector control, as mentioned, when these disease vectors are able to come inside our production, then they could also bring with them diseases. Okay, diseases that are present in the nearby environment. Okay, so regular cleaning and disinfection. Okay, if we regularly clean and disinfect our production houses, then vectors would not come in, and we would be able to keep our production, okay, disease free. Okay, to give a summary, okay, good biosecurity is essential in poultry health and management. Okay. So cleaning and disinfection, this should be done on a regular basis. Okay. With that, there's also good pest control. Okay. And also we should be providing good ventilation, because uh, poor ventilation, it gives rise to an increased ammonia in the house. And increased ammonia, the reason that we measure it is because too much ammonia, greater than 25 parts per million, this causes stress in our birds. And when birds are stressed, they develop secondary infection. That is why it is important to provide good ventilation to our birds. Then, of course, we should have good litter management. If we've noticed that the litters are more wet than usual, perhaps it's time to add more or to replace them already. Okay. And then also the regular removal of the feces. Okay. So, recommended is once a week. Okay. But for example, if we find a need that twice a week needs to be done, then we have to do it twice a week. Okay. We should also continue to measure the amount of ammonia in the hen house, and then also we should consider the temperature and the weather. Okay. Next, observe flock daily. Okay. So when we observe our flock daily, any deviation from the normal would be easily spotted. Okay, if you notice a change in behavior in your birds, for example, they are huddling or just keeping to one side of the hen house, then it must mean that there is a draft coming in, or there is a problem with the temperature which needs to be corrected. Okay. And then, as I mentioned a moment ago, the appearance of the feces, this must be noted. If feces have a weird color, a weird smell, is more wet than usual, then these are signs of a disease process. Okay. Also, you should pick your birds up. Okay. Because birds, when they feel sick, they have a tendency to make themselves appear larger than they are. Okay, if they feel threatened. All right, that's it. That's our lecture for poultry health and management. Thank you for listening.